Good evening, Corne. It's been a long time in coming, but I'm sure that you are almost beside yourself with the excitement that's boiling inside that body of yours, knowing full well that you have a huge challenge, a huge opportunity, and basically a chance to develop your life in a way that perhaps you never ever dreamed possible some time back.
I'm chomping at the bit to get over there. It has been, I think, almost 2, maybe 3 years leading up to this point from when I was picked to go on this exchange. So it's been a busy 3 years. A lot has changed, and it's all for the better, thankfully. But sure, no, it's been a journey, and I'm happy the day's finally come.
You tell us that you were picked. Now, it's very easy to get picked on the basis of your skill, your work ethic, but things can change along the way. You might lose focus, you might not be the right guy for the job, but all this time that you've known that you've been going, has that motivated you to be a better farrier and a better person and a better ambassador for South Africa?
Oh, definitely, I do. I don't think it has done anything other than that. Yeah, it's more than motivated me to aspire to greater things. Having to carry the SAAPF logo and the South African farrier community on my shoulders abroad and represent all my friends and family over there. And I call them friends and family because they are. That's pushed me along greatly. I've gotten further qualified, and I've competed at higher levels at competitions, and made a good point of getting out there and meeting everybody that I can and spending as much time with other farriers in developing myself, to get to a level where I can make the best of this opportunity.
I feel privileged to have known Robbie Miller for a very, very long time. I mean, since the days that he was in Port Elizabeth, and he was always a good farrier. He was always a hard-working individual, but I don't think he really had that true self-belief that the results that he's been able to achieve has given him, because that's the Robbie Miller that we know today. That whether you like him or whether you don't like him, there's nothing that anybody can say that is adverse about his work ethic and his thirst for knowledge.
Yeah, that's 100%. He is a big role model in my life, not only in my career, but the way that he goes through life. He's an extremely committed and passionate man about everything that he takes on. Yeah, so it's something to strive towards. I had a conversation with him the other day where I think we were talking about fitting up hammer handles onto our rounding hammers, and I said, no, I'm going to copy your handle exactly. And he said, no, why? Your hands are bigger than mine, and you got longer arms and all of this. And I said, if you want to be like someone, you have to do like someone. And I think that, just jokingly said, it just shows that there's a lot of people, not only myself, that do aspire to be like him, because he set such a good example.
Yeah, I think it's all encompassing, because whether it's coming to the races as a guest, whether it's riding a polo pony, whether it's standing at Trisha's side when she's got commodities to sell or buy or retrieve, whatever the case may be. He's just like the Rock of Gibraltar, and I don't ever aspire to the kind of person that blows smoke up anybody's what. But he's a terrific ambassador for this country, and I'm sure that you are hoping that you can leave the same kind of indelible footprint that he has left on the international market.
Oh, flip, just even leaving half of what he's done. I mean, yeah. No, I'm at a bit of a loss of words when it comes to that. He's done amazing things for this country. He's done amazing, well, the farrier community in this country, you know, getting exams going, getting people qualified, getting people to compete, learning so that he can teach. You know, it's a bit of a thankless job, but he's put his hand up and he's accomplished amazing things.
Yeah, I suppose I suppose from a capitalist perspective, it could be classified as a thankless job, but I'm sure just as he has learned from people around the world, whether it's Chris Gregory or whether it's Cody or whether it's that very, very famous English farrier that whose name just escapes me at the moment. Maybe you can help me with his name.
Nigel Fennell, Denny Elliott, Stephen Bean. No, he's Welsh.
Those are three very, very big names. To South Africa about 15 years ago. Anyway, let's not get lost. If it comes to mind, I'll certainly bring it up again. But the point is that you get on a plane and you disappear into the blue yonder. What are you leaving behind? First of all, in terms of revenue. Secondly, in terms of emotion. Just break through that particular barrier, first of all.
Yeah, so let's talk about the personal stuff first. So obviously I'm leaving my home behind. You know, I've got a pregnant wife at home, and you know, my family is back here and all my friends are here. And when I say family, I mean the people I work with as well as my family. And you know, my position in the company that I work in, the team, it's like a family, and I'm gonna miss these guys a lot, and I'm gonna miss my wife a lot. So there's a lot of that I leave behind. And what's the other part of the question that you asked me?
Well, I mean the emotional aspect which you've dealt with, but secondly, from a revenue perspective, you wouldn't be getting on a plane and going somewhere if you didn't know that your family was being provided for and that you would have money to live from. So obviously, that is part and parcel of the package of being selected to participate in this exchange program.
Yeah, look, leading up to this, I've saved a bit of money and made sure that all of my stuff at home is taken care of. As far as the flights and stuff, that was covered by Vern Powell, who heads up the exchange program in the US. He said to Rob that the first guy you send over to the States, I'll cover his flights. So luckily that's been covered for me, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I've been able to save up a couple of skins for this time that I've gone, just to make sure that, you know, the lights stay on.
Okay, but living expenses, I mean, are you being looked after there from a point of view of a roof over your head, and do you have to pay for your own food and beverages as you go along?
No. So the hosts that you are set up with, you'll obviously live with them, and then they'll make sure that you get a plate every evening and breakfast every morning, and then you just plod along with them in the rig. So yeah, food and housing is covered, thankfully. Yeah.
And the day-to-day existence, have you got any insight into how different it will be from what you are currently used to in the Western Cape?
I think for the most part, I won't be working as hard. And I think there will be a fair bit more driving. Shoeing is shoeing. It just depends who you're shoeing with. So yeah, it's a difficult question. I don't really know what to expect. Only what I've heard from people that have been there and experienced it. But from day to day, I hope I'll be shoeing horses and not camels. So I suppose that'll be the same. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I live my life by analogies, and I often think about people like Kelly O'Connor, or you know, Lisa Williams, or any of the what's the girl's name? Somebody Riley. Well, look, there are lots of people from South African show jumping world that have gone overseas onto the tour, and they've found it very, very difficult, mainly because of the weather, but also because they are so used to having things done for them over here because of the spin-off from apartheid, where a lot of the people that work with us are doing a lot of the work that we didn't like doing. But I don't think as a farrier that you or anybody that works with you would ever expect anybody to do anything that you cannot do yourself. So are you going there with the expectation of working in the same capacity as you are working now? Or do you feel that you may be in some way subservient and have to do a lot of stuff that people going overseas would have to do?
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. Over there, they don't have ferry assistants as often as we do. Most of the guys probably will have apprentices, but yeah, for the most part, I'll probably be doing what my assistant is currently doing for me. So like stripping and clinching and things like that. But I think that's also part of the learning curve, because they'll some of those guys will maybe have a tip or a trick here and there that would enhance that aspect of shoeing the whole horse, because it does play an important role. So yeah, no, that'll probably be different. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
So you are going there to learn ostensibly, but will there be an opportunity for you to in any way compete or in any way show the skill that you have honed over all these years?
I think I'm missing all the WCB contests that are going on. I might be able to squeeze into one or two local comps if I'm lucky. I hope so. But I think showcasing skill will probably be on a day-to-day basis, with whoever I'm spending time with. And hopefully I will be able to, show them what I can do. And hopefully they'll have some input and just enhance it.
Your dad, as a role model in respect of his parenting, is unquestioned. He's a very special man. He's got a lot of great leadership qualities. How often do you speak to your dad on a daily basis or weekly basis, whether it's for advice or whether it's just to say, hello, Dad?
Oh, so I speak to my old man about twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, just usually to catch up and tell him about all the mischief I got up to. It's more just calling a friend more than it is, calling for any other reason. Me and my father worked together for a long time during my high school career, and he was not only a father to me, he was a boss, he was a friend, and he taught me what work ethic looks like and all of these things. So I think he assumes a lot of what goes on in my life. So we generally just catch up and talk mischief.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, I bumped into some horse dentists the other day. I'm not going to mention their names, but this particular gentleman had his son working for him. And after the encounter, we had a little chat when we were packing up and going home. We were there to treat a horse with the ozone blanket. And he said to me, the one thing that I've been very clear on is that my son is not my pal. He's my son. I have earned his respect, and he must respect me. He mustn't try and, because they always say familiarity breeds contempt. And I think without getting too involved in life lessons, I think it's something that a lot of people don't take cognizance of, that they try and become a little too big for their boots before it's time for them to be autonomous. Do you feel that your father has instilled those Calvinistic boundaries that have given you a great foundation?
I do think so. I really do, Andrew. It's I find myself thinking back to lessons that I learned from my father, probably without him intentionally teaching them, and it helps me out quite often. So I do believe he's instilled some good values. I've progressed quite far and been able to spend a lot of time working for one person. So, I think he made me a good worker, if I can put it like that. I find it easy working for someone. That's probably why I don't have my own practice going. And I think that's just because, my dad taught me how to work for someone and gain knowledge and experience through offering time and effort.
Yeah, I think that's very important because there are a lot of companies that need those team players that are not there necessarily for themselves. They're happy to put in the extra miles and the extra yards in the hope that they will get included in the revenue stream that is forthcoming from a successful practice. Is that how you see it?
Definitely. I don't see myself working in Robbie's practice. I see myself working in our practice. Even though he's the boss and it is his practice, I've been put in a position where I've got a lot of responsibility and I thrive on that. When you make one of your employees feel important, they will do everything they can to stay important and not become redundant. And I think Robbie himself, he's a very good leader, and he allows you to go as much as you can without fumbling too often. So yeah, look, it's being in this position and having so much responsibility, it's really motivated me. Yeah.
And you referred earlier on to your wife being pregnant. I'm sure that wasn't planned when you knew that you were going on this excursion slash exchange program. But the reality is that it is what it is. And she must be a very special lady to say to you, my man, you go and you build this family further onwards, and I'll keep the home fires burning.
Yeah, I know, poor Amy. She's my rock. Eh? Look, there's a lot of other things that we planned, but a little one obviously came as a surprise to both of us. But in life, you can plan as much as you want to. It almost never ever works out 100% to the T. So yeah, no, it's been nothing but support and a little bit of sacrifice here and there. But yeah, we'll grow.
The beautiful thing about this chat that we're having is that it's I'm sitting in Johannesburg, you're sitting in Cape Town, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world or where I am in the world. We can continue this conversation as you go along your journey in the United States of America. And to me, that is attractive for anybody who's an aspirant farrier to know that there's an opportunity to see how the whole thing evolves, because you just said it. You can plan. The best laid plans of mice and men can go awry. So you've obviously got a plan to work hard, but you're obviously prepared for flexibility and change.
Yes. No, I'm excited to see where it takes me. I haven't committed to, this is what I have to do and these are the people that I have to see. I'm just excited to have the opportunity to go abroad and meet new people and learn new things, whichever way the wind blows.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to part with one. There's so much to talk about, but I think we have to put a lid on it somehow. There's one particular instance where you entertain house guests on the basis of helping them along. And if they're not equipped with the understanding that contribution is everything to the way in which your time remains with them, then unfortunately they're not on the same page. So clearly you're going armed with the full knowledge that wherever you are staying, that it is their home, it is something that you have to fit into. They've obviously scrutinized you from your work ethic perspective, but it must be nevertheless quite daunting to go into somebody else's home, even as an adult, and play by their rules.
Yeah, 100%. You know, you're not visiting family. You know, you're meeting new people, and you just need to be thankful for everything that they do provide for you, because it is out of the good of their heart. No one has to do it. So, I mean, the least you can do is wash a dish here and there and make sure you clean up after yourself. Be out of the way when you need to be out of the way. But yeah, I think for the most part, farriers are strange creatures in that they are really what's the word? They're easy to get along with. In that, you know, we generally speaking, we're quite easygoing people and we're quite accommodating. For the most part, most farriers that I've met are like that. So I'm hoping that that trend continues. But like I said, you know, I do respect. I have a lot of respect for anybody willing to open their home for me, and yeah, I will treat it with respect.
Okay, I've been trawling through a lot of farrier videos that are available on YouTube, and I'm sure there are many platforms that I've missed. But the one thing I'm getting is that farriers across the globe are starting to realize that they are just as valuable as a cardiac surgeon or a cancer surgeon, because it's a highly specialized job. And so many dreams are built on the back of the thoroughbred, or built on the back of any horse that is ridden or that is working. And it is your job, and it is the farrier's job, to make sure that that horse is sound and happy. And I am absolutely filled with admiration for the work that you do. It gives me enormous satisfaction to have had anything to do with you guys. And I would personally like to say good luck, and may you carry this flag high, because we are very, very proud of you going overseas. Even though I'm not a farrier myself, I can see what you've achieved, and I'm sure everybody is unanimous that you're the right man to go and carry South Africa's flag high.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bond. I really, really appreciate it. And growing up in this industry and knowing a lot of the older guys, they've known me since I've been in diapers, and you know, it's so cool having grown up and see them growing, and then you get into that position where you can now learn from them, and having this opportunity with, you know, in essence, the older guys who've seen me grow up, see me go overseas and then bring back knowledge. It's so cool. It's such a cool opportunity, and I think it's going to be an amazing experience. And I hope I make everyone at home proud. And thank you so much for the kind words. And it's like so motivating, you know, hearing that it has some kind of effect on someone.
Yeah, it really does. And just to put the lid on it, Corne, when you get there, there are obviously going to be times where you're going to be homesick, you're going to miss your family, and we just want to know, when can we expect to see you back in South Africa, and what kind of flexibility is there with regard to, I mean, when is your wife due, for example?
So we due to get a little boy in October, so at the end of October. I'm going over for a 7-week stint, so I'll be back on the 20th of June. Yeah, so I'll be back well before that, and I'll be back before the Cape racing season, and when the new foals come at the stud farm, I'll be back for all of that. I won't miss that for the world.
So you've planned it like Robbie Miller planned his induction into the Hall of Fame in Met Week. I mean, it couldn't have been tighter than for him to get back just in time.
That's it. That's it. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up space. And my first mentor said that to me quite often, Mr. Scott Borland. So yeah, no.
You know, funny enough, I actually heard that exact expression from Sean Iggersluis, who's probably the same kind of age group as Scotty, and it's probably the same kind of work ethic. You've got a hell of a bunch of guys behind you, and I'm hoping that you can instill that kind of work ethic and that skill into the guys in front of you.
Definitely, definitely. That is the goal, to bring it back and to pay it forward.